Hi guys, I'm back with the next day of my exercise routine. This was a lower body day, so I started off with stretching the hamstrings, stretching the hips, the ankles, and really get them loose because before I've not really warmed up that well, and I've always ended up having some problems with my knee that is just at the lower part of the kneecap. So by doing a bunch of warm-up exercises, it definitely helps to relieve or to let's say reduce the possibility of injury and soreness. This is something that I saw from my girlfriend. She is doing a bunch of hip warm-ups because if I just stand and I would lift up my leg like a knee raise, like high knees basically, but just static from standing still and then lifting it up, I would hear, or I wouldn't hear, but I would feel there is a part in my hip that is a little bit crunchy, and that is not very enjoyable. It's not hurting or anything, but it's just uncomfortable. And after doing this, it definitely feels a lot better. You can also do this exercise by adding a band between or from thigh to thigh to increase the resistance, to work on your hips a little bit more. But it's quite challenging, and it definitely helps for you to be in front of a mirror when you start out to try and coordinate how you move your legs and your knees. So I've definitely done this a bit better than when I started. So I just kept on doing this for a while, and now I'm trying to do something where it is a continuous movement, but by including this opening and closing of the hip. So as you can see here, it's supposed to be, let's just say, around the world movement with my leg, but my range here is still very limited, and it should be a lot more. Also, the speed that I'm doing it at, it's a little bit too fast, and I should look at that and try and improve that the next time around. But it definitely helps to warm the hip up and stop that crunchy feeling that I have in my hip when lifting my knee. And then the other side, exactly the same thing. So the reason why I'm also doing a lot more warm-ups and things is because my mid back definitely has a problem with how I lift things. Sometimes if I bend over or if I sit too long in front of the computer, my back also tends to round a bit. Most of us have this problem by staying in front of the computer for a long time or sitting at a desk, and this has caused other problems in my body with stiffness and things. And I've also had a problem with my knee before that I had to go for surgery to do ACL reconstruction. So what I'm doing here is wrapping the band around the bottom portion of my leg, just above my foot, and it's just this constant movement to try and make the tendon that is there in the front a little bit looser and more flexible, because if it is too tight, I can't place my knee well in front of my toes. And if I can't do that, then the next exercise which I'll be doing, which will be pistol squats, is really difficult as I can't stay balanced. So by doing this, it definitely helps to allow for more mobility and range of motion throughout my exercises. So as you can see there, my back is quite rounded, so I think there is some stiffness in my lower back and hips and things that I need to loosen up over time. So hopefully by doing a lot more warm-up and mobility work, that would definitely help to better my form. So yeah, after my ACL reconstruction, I've definitely had some problems due to me not following all the rehabilitation which I had to do, and because of that, some of my mobility and range of motion within my knee itself, this is now my right knee, has not fully returned until a couple of years ago, where I focused a bit more on certain exercises to increase the range of motion. So here I'm just trying to stretch my hamstrings out a bit more, but not keeping it static for too long, as that will just weaken it and take the possibility of strength out of it. So it's just keeping it short there for like 5 seconds each time, releasing the tension and doing it again just for a short while. So yeah, I'll definitely keep on doing more warm-ups and a different type of warm-up. So yeah, now let's move on to my pistol squats. This is now my first set, and from the get-go, my right leg, which is now my problem leg, definitely seems like it is doing better than some of my previous attempts. So of course there I need to keep my knee in front of my toe to stay balanced. My left leg is a lot better. It's also stronger, as I have a bit more confidence there, as it is not, or that it doesn't have a problem from any prior things that I've done. So also something that I've learned with doing these pistol squats is that I need to learn to keep my leg, so now it's my left leg, I need to keep it up higher, and I need to activate my core a bit more, so that later on I can do it with a lower step, because currently I have it on 2 of these steps, so there's a lot of room between my foot and the ground to allow for this leg, or the left leg, the loose leg basically, to move around. But if I can learn to keep my core tighter and keep my leg a bit more parallel to the ground, I think I can definitely have a better form and complete movement than from this exercise. So now busy again with the good leg. There shouldn't be a problem. I'm also trying to keep my hands and my head pointing forward. My eyes are looking down, but my head is upright. And my back is a bit rounded. I think that can improve as well, but it is something that you need to have in order to get that depth. And of course, the faster you go down, the easier it is to go up if you keep it controlled, of course, because there's then a spring within your leg. So now we're at the 3rd set, and it's definitely going better. But if you look at my feet, it seems like a lot of my weight is on the inside, and then as soon as I go up, it's transferring to the outside and not staying on my foot completely, basically making a triangle. So I have to try and spread my weight out and keep it there throughout the entire movement. So right there I made a mistake. I've gone down way too fast, and I haven't really recomposed myself, because the thing over here with pistol squats for me at the moment is quality over quantity. Most of these are just like 5 reps, but they should be done with quality and not really with speed, because speed just takes away everything from the stability from it, I suppose, especially for me when I'm learning. So now moving on to squats. I am squatting barefoot as I'm trying to place the weight or spread the weight out more over my feet, because with other shoes that I have, let's just say for example like Converse, your toes are in such a narrow box in front that you can't spread the weight out. So it's still difficult for me to really open up my feet because I've been so used to the shoe that's quite small and closed down that my foot isn't used to spreading out that much. So every time when I'm going to do squats from now on, or basically leg exercises, I'm going to try and do that barefoot, as it would help me to spread out the weight. So also recently I've been starting to use a weight belt again, as I'm just trying to reduce my butt wink. As you can see there, on the low weight of 60 kilos, I'm still having butt wink, which I'm trying to avoid. I do think I need to spread my feet out a bit more. That's a little bit too close, and therefore my torso and my hips can't move past my thighs because I'm not flexible enough for that. And butt wink then occurs due to me not having the or enough space to move. So I'm going to try and widen the stance a little bit. I think this is pretty good, better than before. But looking at my feet, my butt wink here is a bit, but not too much. But looking at my heels and the inside of my ankle, it's always moving a bit in, it's slightly pushing in. So definitely have to loosen that up a bit more. I think that also has to come in with the tightness of the calf through the Achilles tendon as well, and also the tendon that connects my front foot, the part that I loosened up before with the band. So yeah, now I'm just continuing staying on 100 kilos for all my squats. It's not too heavy, however I am trying to focus on the parts where I was or the parts that I was neglecting before, because it's one thing to be strong, but if you're doing it with bad form, at some point you're going to start having some problems, whether that be range of motion or tightness or something just not functioning well, or you're always hurting yourself. So now I'm literally not going too heavy, but still at a slow enough pace to impose stimulus to the muscles. So it's not as if I'm exercising at a super low weight. To some this might be, to others it might not be, but for me this is perfectly in the middle. And by doing it at a slow descent and still a slow ascent, it means that I can definitely feel my muscles more and know where the intended power must go to. So yeah, I think my stance here is alright. I need to experiment next time with where my feet must be. So yeah, as I started this exercise with pistol squats, which is a one-legged exercise, I continued with that at the end, where I'm just doing seated leg extensions. But here I had a bit of a problem. So my right leg, of course, has the problem at the bottom of my knee. And if you look closely at the bottom of my right leg, you'll see that there is a bit of a scar there, and that is where the insertion was for the operation. But that's also where I'll be pointing out now, where I am experiencing a bit of pain, which was a little bit annoying because I don't really know why that is. It might just be because of the way that I'm seated on this machine, that the tension is too much on that joint or the tendon itself. But on my healthy leg, there is no such feeling whatsoever. So I am a little bit concerned about that feeling in my right knee. So I'll have to keep on observing and seeing what is happening from it, because right there where I'm touching and pointing, that is pretty much where my index finger is. That is where the pain is coming from, but it's not unbearable. It's just like a bit of a sharp pinching pain that I'm experiencing. But it's important for me to do single leg exercises to see where my weaknesses are and try and focus on them in the future. But of course you still have to train for strength purposes, and I still want to maintain my size and, if I can, even build muscle by doing it the right way. So leg extensions was part of my rehab process for my ACL, but now, after it being around 10 years after that injury, it starts to give problems again. And one thing that the doctor told me was that this pivot point in the middle of my legs, there by my knees, that should be in line with your knees, like where the actual pivot point of your knee is. So for many of these leg extension machines, they are not in the right place, for one reason, that the seat is a bit too far to the front and you can't go too much to the back. Even if you move the backrest further back, then you don't have enough movement for your legs. I can try that, but before I've also experienced something similar like this at another gym with other equipment. So then, just to finish off the exercise of lower body, I went to do some static stretching, and this is really good to get a good stretch on my thigh, my upper thigh. So this would be then on my left leg, and then just switching it around. And again, my right leg, you can see this compared to the previous movement, I'm a lot more upright and I can't lean as much to the front as what I want to. It's due to that stiffness that is there in my knee, and this will definitely help to keep on doing stretches like this. And then lastly, I had to stretch the glutes out, as there's always some glute activation that you're doing, and it's always good to try and keep that as loose as possible. So I just did a couple of static holds on each side. I think this might have been like a 30 count or a 20 count, I forgot. And then I ended up doing some cat-cows, because my back has that problem that I've mentioned earlier. And the week before this, I've experienced some lower back pain, and I think it was also because when I was doing the cat pose, I tried to do this pose and I was bending through my lower back. So here I'm trying to keep my core a bit tighter and just trying to move through my upper back and my mid back a bit more and not squeeze too much, as that might be an injury waiting to happen. So yeah, that was my entire workout, and I think it is always important to start with a good warm-up and a good warm down and some stretching. So yeah, there will be more videos like this following. The next one will be again an upper body session. So until then, see ya.